How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today's video is going to be a good one. Today's video is going to be about what it's like to daily drive. Sorry, I just ran. What it's like to daily drive a 30-year-old truck. This is my 1993 Ford F-150 XLT. This truck right here has just about every single option that you could get on one of these trucks. This is a very, very highly optioned XLT. Just about the only thing that this truck doesn't have is the optional 351. It does have the 302 and the optional tow package. As you can see, it just has the regular mirrors on it. This truck here has 58,000 original miles. It is a little messy, but I can tell you, this is probably the cleanest, one of the cleanest I have seen in person. There are no cracks on the dash. It is kind of fading up on top, but there's no cracks in the leather. Absolutely no cracks. I have a small little stain right here from the previous owner, but no cracks in the entire truck. No rips in the seats, no little tears, nowhere. The leather wrap, the steering wheel is leather wrapped. It is kind of fading a little bit. As you can see, this is an XLT trim. I believe for this year model, higher than this would have been a Lariat or an Eddie Bauer. But this one has every single option that you could get on these trucks. Still has the factory radio in it, and this was the better optional radio that you could get where you could adjust everything. The base models did not come with radios like these. Also has a cassette player that does still work. Now, what's odd about this truck is that it's a single cab long bed. That is not the odd part. There are millions of them out there. The odd part that is that this is a very highly optioned single cab long bed. Typically, you see single cab long beds were base model XL work trucks. Crank windows, no power, nothing. They had a radio in them, AC, and that was just about it. That was basically all that you ever see these trucks have optioned. I'm the third owner. The second owner, the guy I bought it from, worked on the ranch for the guy who originally bought this truck. This truck has been registered as a farm truck since the day it was bought from 1993. The guy I bought the truck from said this was the ranch owner's personal truck. Meaning, I'm guessing he optioned this truck to also to work on the farm. As you can see, there are dents in it and there are scratches in the paint. This truck was definitely worked. It is missing the rear trim on the back. This trim only come on the higher trim levels. Does have dents and scratches. But the previous owner told me that this was the ranch owner's personal vehicle. Meaning that it is probably likely that A, he walked onto a dealership and said, hey, I want the most expensive single cab long bed, or he went and personally optioned this truck himself. In the description of the truck on Facebook Marketplace, it said it had electrical issues and wouldn't start. The previous owner parked it back in 2009, and it sat there from 2009 until I bought it, I believe 6 months ago, 2023. So this truck sat for over 10 years. I showed up with a brand new battery, a can of gas, and hopes and dreams. Put the battery in, put the gas in the tank, and she fired right up. I then took it on a test drive, drove it around, made sure everything was good, and sure enough, it was perfectly fine. Now, when I first bought this truck, it did have a few issues. Neither of the power windows worked. Both fuel pumps were on their way out the door. The front one is still kind of iffy. I replaced the rear fuel pump. Also did an oil change, transmission service. Also put all brand new headlights on the truck and brand new mirrors. Also brand new window motors. So really the only thing this truck needs now is shocks and air conditioning. This truck has been very, very good to me. I haven't had really any major issues with this truck. This truck's never left me stranded. It's never given me really any real issues. It's very comfortable to drive. Parts are extremely cheap for them. You can find parts for these trucks in junkyards everywhere. There are millions of these trucks out there. Now this truck has 355 gears. It is not a limited slip. It is just a one wheelie peely. But this thing actually gets fairly decent. This thing actually gets fairly decent fuel economy. Now, I haven't calculated it myself, but I can tell you, $40 can get me back and forth to work for 6 to 7 days. And that's on one fuel tank. If I fill up both of these tanks, I can get 2-3 weeks out of this without having to go to a gas station. Now, the odometer did recently stop working. It is an electronic odometer. It stopped working recently, so I don't know how many miles I'm getting on one single tank, but I can get pretty decently far with it. These bench seats are extremely, extremely comfortable. The one gripe I do have about this truck is that the backrest does not go forwards or backwards. This is kind of where it sits, so you're kind of sitting directly straight up. You can't lean back at all. There's also really kind of no room to fit pretty much anything behind this seat. What's cool is this truck does have this was an option back then. It does have cruise control. It has the dual tanks. Now this truck also has, which was also an option, the RPM gauge. You don't see, most of these don't have RPM gauges. So what is it like daily driving a 30-year-old Ford F-150? One, it's very comfortable, especially on long trips. Number two, this one in particular has dual fuel tanks, so I can get probably across the entire state of Texas without having to stop for fuel. I can probably get a few states over as well. Number three, these older trucks are extremely reliable. There's no crazy electronic BS you have to deal with, aside from the Ford EFI system, which I do not like at all. Mainly because you can't tune these trucks, so if you put cams in them and do all these things, you kind of really have to do a mass airflow conversion. That's a discussion for another day. And parts are extremely cheap for this truck. Both window motors I got brand new for I think $25 each. For both brand new mirrors, all new headlights, and these little amber turn signals and turn signal lights and everything. For all of that, I think I paid $150. New shocks, which this truck needs. Monroe sells all 4 shocks for this truck for I think $100. So parts are extremely cheap, and they are very, very plentiful. These old trucks are also extremely, extremely easy to work on. To change the fuel pump, all you have to do is remove, I think, 4 bolts from the bed, take the headlight assemblies out, and you and a buddy can lift the bed off of the truck in about 30 minutes to change both fuel pumps. The headlights, also a very easy thing to change. I think it took me and my buddy 30 minutes to change out both headlights. Not the lights, the entire assemblies. The mirrors, it's 2 bolts. You undo the bolts and take the door panel off, and there's a bolt inside. 3 bolts and both mirrors, boom, off in 30 minutes. Tires, because these are, I believe, 15-inch rims. Newer trucks come with 20-inch rims, and tires for those trucks are extremely expensive. I got all 4 brand new Firestone tires on this truck for, I believe, out the door $450, $500. An oil change. My local Ford dealership does an oil change on this truck for $50. Number one, maintenance is extremely cheap on these trucks. Number two, they're very, very easy to work on. Number three, I own this truck. This truck is mine. The bank can't come knocking and say, "Hey dog, where's your payment at?" This truck also costs me, I'm 20 years old, I have no tickets on my record, no accidents. This truck also only costs me $30 a month to insure. Now that compared to my 2017 Ford Mustang GT, which is $450 a month to insure, this compared to that is like nothing. Now the reason I did buy this truck was so that I didn't have to drive my Mustang GT every single day. Mustang is full bolt-on E85, and I put a very, very aggressive clutch in it, so driving it every day is not that fun. And also I don't have to worry about going out racing it and then it breaking and me not having a vehicle to drive. Speaking of which, I have 4 vehicles and only 2 of them are drivable, but that is a discussion for another day. So I can get in this truck, turn the key, drive it, not have to worry about little things going wrong with it, these trucks are extremely reliable. I don't have to worry about going out racing my Mustang, breaking it at the track, and not having a vehicle to get in. I can get in this, it'll take me to work, it'll take me wherever I want to go, and I have nothing to worry about. It's paid off, it's reliable. There's really nothing more you can say about these old trucks. If you can pick up one of these rust-free, regardless of mileage, you can get it easily 300,000 to 500,000 miles out of these trucks. These Windsor 302s are extremely reliable. This truck also has the AOD mechanical transmission, no electronics attached to it. The AOD, depending on who you ask, is also a very reliable transmission. So there's no $700 a month truck payment. I have yet to mention I only paid $3,500 for this truck. All in, tires, everything I've done to it. I think I've put $4,500 to $5,000 into this truck. For $5,000, I have an extremely reliable truck, cheap to maintain, super comfortable, decently good on fuel. Yeah, I'll take a truck, $5,000 done, paid for, I own, over a $700 truck payment. Before I bought this truck, I went to the Chevrolet dealership and went to custom order a crew cab Chevy Silverado 1500. The only two options I picked for that truck were the tow package and the 5.3. That truck came out to $45,000 for a base model work truck trim Chevy Silverado. The same is said for the Fords and the Rams. New trucks are extremely expensive for no reason at all. They pack all these stupid electronics into them that are kind of hard to work on and replace. 30 years down the line, I cannot say the same for new trucks, especially with all the electronic gizmos they have in them. Now, I do love new trucks. I love the body styles of the new trucks, but there's no telling 10, 20, 30 years down the line how all the electronics are going to age. They're going to have all kinds of lights on the dash for this not working, that not working. This truck, the only light on the dash is the check engine light. That's because I do not have catalytic converters on this truck. But that is also a discussion for another day. So that's all I have for y'all today. Thank y'all for watching, and I'll catch y'all in the next one.